Hey friends, welcome to DBC Live. We are so excited you tuned in today. Let me get my comments up over here so I can see who's joining us. As you are joining us, please do tell us who you are, where you're from, what you do. Tell us a little bit about your day. Did you have something exciting that happened today? We have Rebecca Coda on the show with us today. I'm super duper excited to have her on. I will let her introduce herself in just a moment. But before we get started, remember, every single comment over in the comment section is entered to win one of her books for free, and she has two, so you got to choose. So we are thankful that Rebecca Coda is on the show. She is the co-author with Rick Jatter of two of our books. The school leader's dunk tank, avoiding the school leader's dunk tank, and also let them speak. So Rebecca, welcome to the show. Tell everybody who you are, what you do in case they don't already know. And tell us what you're doing and where you're living, and tell us a little bit about you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This is just a lot of fun. I know with COVID and we're all virtual now, it just almost seems like we're all here together. So I appreciate that. It's interesting because back when I wrote The Dunk Tank, I was in Arizona, and the past 3 years, I was a director of curriculum and instruction up in Arkansas. And Tara and I hadn't talked in a little while, and I said, "Well, I'm in New Orleans now," and so that was kind of so that was a surprise. So we moved literally during the hurricane, like there was a hurricane just about to hit, and COVID was in full force. And we had a moving truck, and we didn't really have a choice. So we are down here in New Orleans now, and we absolutely love it. It just brings us happiness. I'm also a mother of 3 kids with special needs, and just luckily, I have been able to continue doing some writing, and I am not working full time right now. But I'll tell you what, 3 teenagers is full time.
Oh yeah, that's full time, definitely. And New Orleans, oh, the food, so
It's
good.
amazing.
Oh, so
I think there's a conference here in 2022 or 2023.
I'll be there.
So fun.
Be sure and tell me. I need to sign up for that one. Dave, you heard her. I need to go to that one. It's important. All the DBC authors are going to be there. We're going to make sure of it. So New Orleans, such a fun place. I grew up I grew up on the border of Louisiana, Texas, on the Gulf. So seafood, Cajun food, gumbo, jambalaya, all of that is a part of my growing up, my history, my culture. I love it. I love it.
I love it. I mean, it's truly a melting pot. Like everybody just loves each other. There's food from around the world. Like you see everything. Everybody just loves each other. And I'll tell you what, in our world today, it feels so amazing.
Yes, that's awesome to hear. I'm loving that you love your new job. I do wish I would have got to see you in person here though when you live so close. Because Arkansas is not that far from Kansas. And now you're really far. So awesome. Well, we are excited to have Rebecca on the show with us tonight. I was telling her before the show that I have been trying something new. I'm trying to cook once, eat all week. So I bought this cookbook. I'm super stoked about it. It's my first time to meal prep, and I decided to do it on a Thursday night. Like, why? I have no idea. But we're going to have food for the weekend. So, yeah, before we jumped on here, I was like, oh my goodness, it's almost 6:30. I'm so excited to join you all, though, and learn with each of you this evening. So we love to just share something, Rebecca, that we think people could implement tomorrow in their classroom or with their students or with their staff. It doesn't really matter. Or maybe it's just something you read and that you want to share with us. It's inspired you. You kind of want to reach out and inspire other people. Honestly, this is free PD, and we all come here just to kind of unwind, but also to learn something and be inspired. And I know every time I talk to you, I leave inspired. So I'm excited to hear what you have to share with us tonight, Rebecca. Take it away, girl.
Oh, awesome. Well, I was really going to piggyback off of Student Voice, and I'll tell you something that I have had really chewed on and reflected on. I had met a lady named Dr. Erin Robb, and she's the CEO of reenvision.org. She went to Stanford. She worked with the World Education Program down in Africa. She started a lot of amazing things. But she really was on like this global journey to find out, like, what's the it factor in education? Like, how do I do this? She kind of came from a business background, but yet went and got her PhD in education, traveled the world looking at education, and said, you know what? I want to see what does it mean? What does it look like? And so she was really digging into student voice, really around the epicenter of what makes a good life and what makes people happy. And so she just started interviewing student after student to find out what makes a good life. So after Let Them Speak came out, she kind of reached out to me and wanted to see, how we could, bridge a relationship there. And so we started talking about that, and she asked me what's school all about. And, I did like the normal, we want to make sure we produce happy or productive citizens. We want to make sure that they're going to thrive in the real world. We want to make sure that they're interconnected and everything is relevant. And she said, well, what about their happiness? What about, what they want? And it really stopped me dead in my tracks at the time, really around this idea of student happiness agency. So, we go to school, we teach our kids, we have all these great lessons, we get fired up, but really we have to come to the level of, but what do the kids want? Like, what makes them happy? What motivates them? What gets them going? And what makes a good life for them? And so as I thought my laptop was charged, so I'm just going to shift a little and
No,
plug in at the same time.
hey,
I'd rather do that than like get cut off completely. And I thought I started charged, but
no worries. We keep it real on here.
So I'll just come down here. And so when Let Them Speak came out, we really got to talking about student agency and happiness. And one step further is, Rick and I presented quite a bit at different conferences, and our teachers just, yes, they love the vignettes, they love the stories, they love the transformation of really examining a student plot line and our reflection to make it better. But then we also had some that just wanted some practical, like, but how could we do that? Like, what would that look like? And so one of my very favorite lessons, we had created an implementation guide. This is what the cover looks like. It's a free PDF on letthemspeak.net. And there's a lesson design in there called Living a Happy Life. And really, it's a matter about we need to connect with our kids socially, emotionally. And the more that we connect with virtual teachers right now, this is what everybody is begging for. We want to get into DOK and, essential questions. And, we want to get to kind of the fun pedagogical stuff, but that is not what they want right now. Our kids need connection. They need to see themselves 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and see themselves happy. And so that's really what this lesson does, is it targets kids to think about what is a good life, not what's my job, but you know what? You see yourself as an adult and you're sitting at home and you look around and what do you see? Who are you with?
Yeah.
What kind of things are you doing? So it's really about charting out things that make you genuinely happy as yourself.
Love it.
And then kind of backwards mapping, the things that we do with questioning as teachers. But we really start out with the essential question of, what makes a good life? And why do some things make some people happy and not others happy? I know I run into people and, they live in a completely different circumstance than me. And, I always wanted to better them, in my opinion, make sure they had the things that I thought that they needed to meet my standard. But, when I talked to Dr. and Robin, it was like, yeah, but I'm placing my expectations on them. And so I think one of the best ways that we can connect with our kids is to really take a little bit of time and just find out what makes their good life, what makes them happy, what makes them thrive. And then from there, you can start doing like your vision boards and some of those things that we've done in the past. But I always say now more than ever, we need to get to know each other, and our unity is really going to be happiness. What makes you happy, Dave or Tara or whomever, it's very different than what makes me happy. And
Right.
so it is so important to just take those pausing moments as a teacher to ask. And then sometimes we're not going to like what we hear because that means that we made a mistake or we didn't think about something and we have to change something to really meet their needs. But this idea of their future self and what makes them genuinely happy, once we know what that is, we start gearing towards our teaching and yes, our real world and our PBL towards that. But if we anchor it to what their good life is
Right.
several years from now, that's what gets us through those tough times. That's what gives us through the productive struggle. So those are just some of my initial thoughts.
No, I love it. And there's so many things going through my mind right now, too. I love the idea of one, as the teacher, getting to know the students. Like, what is it? Like you said, there's so many things that make everybody happy and so different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because what makes Dave happy, he loves to make these really long runs. That never makes me happy. That makes me very sad and frustrated. But what makes me happy is ridiculous CrossFit workouts, right? And so that does not make him happy, but that makes me really happy. And so learning that, one, everybody has just like these different little things that have to go on during their day. And maybe when they grow up, they're thinking, maybe they know what makes them happy right now. And then to project and think, what is that going to look like in 5 years? Well, I want to be fit. I want to be healthy. I want to eat healthy. I want to feel good. And I want to like be able to explore and take adventures, whatever it is. But also when kids start to hear from each other, the things that make them happy, I feel like when we can create a culture that respects and honors the different perspectives of all of our colleagues or all of our classmates, then we're helping grow our future, right? And they are going to be the ones out there expressing all of their opinions, and hopefully people can just value other people's opinions. Like, oh, okay, then that's just what you love, and that's what you love. And I'm going to agree to disagree, but it's okay. I've learned how to deal with this because I learned in my classroom, like what makes everybody tick, or everybody happy is just a little bit different. And so I love this idea of fostering that culture of respecting individuality and respecting the perspectives of others. And I think that is something our world is desperately in need of right now, is more of that for sure.
Yeah, and you know what? So many times, we keep hearing teachers talking about motivation, especially in the virtual setting. Getting kids to come to class and want to be there and want to do those things. But when we know what their happiness is, we can say, "Hey, you know what? When I was your age, I didn't want to learn algebra 1 either. But you know what? You're telling me that you want to play baseball and be able to, I don't know, go to your girlfriends and this, are you going to be able to do that if if you aren't able to hold down a job, or if you have to work 3 jobs, or so how can I help you get to your version of happiness, knowing that we got to get through this together?"
Like,
And that relationship piece, it's crazy what it will do for kids.
Huge. And it's
Absolutely.
helping them to understand it's like a step in the road. Not every step is a wonderful step, right? And I posted this picture the other day on one of my social medias. I don't remember which one, but one had a ladder with really big rungs, like far apart, 6 feet. And one had a ladder with these really tiny ones. And I'm sure you've seen this image out there. But I think too often we set kids up to dream big, right? Think about what's going to make you happy in 5 years, what's going to make you happy as an adult, so we set them up, but they almost think they can just step up to that top rung. Well, it's very difficult. What are you going to do? Shimmy up the side to try to get your foot up there? Like, not many of us are 6 feet tall. We can reach that one yet, but they're benchmark steps along the way. And if they understand that some of these things we're doing in school, we don't really love, but it's part of it. It's a little step, because the little steps in the right direction is going to help us to reach our goal. And I think if we can help kids to understand, like, here, this is the thing that you want so bad, but here's some of these steps we just got to keep taking. And this is how we make this is how we reach success, if you want to call it that. This is how we reach our dreams. We just keep going little steps at a time. We cannot make those big, huge hops. It's unbelievable. It's frustrating. And then when you don't make it, you're all disappointed and angry, feeling like a failure. So I love all of this. I think it's just
it reminds me. I read a quote, I want to say this morning, and it was to the effect of, we shouldn't expect the extraordinary. We should be teaching them to enjoy the ordinary. So yes, we're going to have those big, lofty, audacious goals. I'm the first one to set them.
Yeah,
but really, if we're talking about student agency, like, do we stop long enough to really smell the flavor of an apple and to hear it crisply, come apart, and to really savor that flavor? Or are we so busy that we don't even notice some of the little things that bring joy, that bring happiness? And, to the kid that, loves to play baseball, it might just be smelling that leather ball. But it's this idea almost of grounding and appreciation and gratitude, and just that constant reconnection to what makes us happy.
It's so true. So true. I feel like we've gotten to experience that a lot more during the pandemic.
We have.
For me anyway, I was just such a busy weaver, just everywhere all the time. And I've told this on this show pretty much a couple of times at least. I didn't even realize we had ducks that come hang out in our pond and find their girlfriends. I had no idea. Like, our little pond was a place where in the spring, the ducks come and they're looking for a girlfriend. And so they are boyfriends, but the boys are looking for a girlfriend. So they fluff their feathers, they do all this stuff. And I was like, you can ask my husband, I was fascinated with them. Like, every day I was out there eating breakfast on my deck, watching them every second. I never even knew once a year those ducks came by, because I never stopped to see them. I never went out and ate on the deck. I was just always so busy. So it's the little stuff. And I can tell happiness, those little, I call them your daily, the daily ducks. I'm just like, here's your little daily dose of ducks. They're just so cute.
Yeah.
But I think it's little stuff like that we just, like you said, we just forget to realize that, wow, nature really brings me happiness. I didn't even realize that because I was so busy, never thinking about it.
Yeah. I do think that once we establish and have a really good understanding peer-to-peer in classrooms, what makes us happy as individuals, what makes us happy collective as a class, I mean, we can move that into then our content areas. We can examine a historical figure and say, you know what do you think made them happy? Like, what is it that they would have wanted then in their situation that would have made them happy? Because it's all about perception.
It's all about.
Then we can move into perception too, but there's so much that we can do that really drive deep, connected, real world conversations that really revolve around happiness agency and just strong, effective culture, unity, and ultimately happiness. And we know that when they're happy, they're receptive to learning and they learn so much more. So
true.
We really think it's worth the investment up front of spending some time with our students and, just periodically infusing these things into the classroom.
Totally. I say it so much too. And I think let's let them speak really, hearing from the kids in those vignettes. It just solidifies what I preach, right? The Be Real message. Yeah. But not only that, it's this, the big message, the big idea of Be Real is really that SEL and content, high quality content, live together. They don't have to live separate. It's not like we need a curriculum for this and no, we need to infuse it. You said this earlier. We need to integrate it into the curriculum. And that's what I feel like you're talking about today. You're saying we ask these questions, but then we say, okay, how does our content help you reach that dream? How does our content help you reach that level of happiness? And reminding kids, like, this is part of the process. Like, it's kind of messy sometimes. It's these little baby steps we have to take to get up the ladder. But we can do this. And when we do that together, we're building, like you said, that working together like that is building that really real relationship. And that's where kids will just do whatever they need to do to not only make you happy because they care about what you think, but also to reach their own level of happiness. And think
absolutely. Oh, that gave me goosebumps to hear you say all that back to me.
Well,
Like
I was just summarizing.
but like that's community. That's sustainable community. That can move. You pick any city, like think about where you live right now and the people in your own neighborhood and your own school and your own churches and wherever you go with sports. And if everybody had that same mindset,
Gosh,
wow, we would be living in a different world.
a beautiful world, right?
Yeah.
Definitely the world I want to live in. I mean,
Yep.
that's my dream, that everybody would begin to think like that, believe like that, be real and
Yep.
embrace that, but also letting others speak, understanding that we all have our own perspectives and
Right.
respecting
Yes.
those, right?
Yes.
We don't have to agree with everything, but we do need to respect each other. And so, I love this so much, Rebecca. I feel like everybody should just bottle this up. If you're watching this on the replay, I know a lot of you join after the show because you're putting babies to bed and stuff like that. We will be leaving those comments open. By the way, if you haven't commented, get something over there. That'll help you win one of these free books. You get to choose. And then if you're listening on the replay, get your comments over there. We're not going to be taking the drawing until tomorrow morning at after 8 a.m. And so someone will be announced a winner and you will get to choose Let Them Speak or Escaping the School Leader's Dunk Tank. So both of those books are super incredible. Rebecca is the co-author. She's amazing. And we have a couple of minutes. Rebecca, do you want to tell them a little bit about Escaping the School Leader's Dunk Tank too? Just in case anybody is interested in I saw
Absolutely.
Lena talking about that book.
Yeah. Well, those of you listening, one thing I know is that you're the high flyers because anybody that follows this podcast and follows all the DBC books, you're constantly striving to improve, which I would put money on that you are continuously climbing the ladder. And not necessarily because you want the next thing, but typically leaders are already doing their next job and somebody just kind of snags them up. And I know that was something that happened with me. I moved from the classroom to an instructional coach role and then on up to the district. And one thing that I really learned, maybe the hard way, I don't know, maybe I needed to be mentored differently, but the higher you go, the tougher it is. You've got all eyes on you, you've got people tattling, you've got dynamics of egos, and it can get really tough to navigate, especially when there's adversity. And I know I found myself in the dunk tank, and we just kind of use that as a metaphor that I think that we can relate to. We've all had some balls thrown on at us before and done the downward plunge and just kind of sometimes popping right up and then other times swimming as hard as we can just to get one little breath. And I had some tough times for a bit working against some adversaries. And unfortunately, sometimes people are promoted that shouldn't be promoted. And sometimes people are not there for kids. And sometimes good is bad and bad is good. So we, again, collected vignettes. I guess that's kind of our thing. And really just heard from leaders all over the nation. And, this kind of epidemic of adversity.
Mm-hmm.
And just really looking at, okay, so this is happening. What's within our control? What are some ways that,
Uh-oh, we lost Rebecca.
are you still there? Hang on, I gotta find the app.
Hear you.
Oh, hang on. I don't know how to get back to Junkyard, so hang on.
Okay, no problem.
I'm gonna go back to your email. I'm gonna click on it again. I still hear you, so hang on.
The sound.
There we go. That was like my mom trying to FaceTime me. I guess it's
well, mine's like this. My grandma.
Although it's a big celebration because she's in Texas and they've been without water and electricity for like 4 days now.
Oh, scary.
So sorry for that interruption.
No
but
worries.
what we really wanted to focus on was prevailing leadership. So the fact is that we're going to face those times of adversity, situations of adversity. And sometimes we have to just suck it up. Like there's nothing that we can do but do the right thing, knowing other people are doing the wrong thing. And then how can we refill our cup? How can we sharpen ourselves? And how can we learn and grow? So really, it's just It's about just the tough times in educational leadership, but then also how can we, she did it again.
It's okay.
Hang on, I'm going to be faster getting back to it this time.
You're fine. I'll kind of fill in.
There we go.
Yeah, so School Your Dunk Tank. I love that book because, like Rebecca was saying, it's not like chicken soup for the school leader's depressed soul. Like, it's not that. It's more like these things are happening. We know they happen sometimes, and kind of hearing from different people and different perspectives of how things are happening in their world. But how do we know, how do we prevail? How do we like escape the dunk tank? How do we continue to keep swimming, come up for air, and also keep making change and keep doing what's right for kids? And I think that's really important, and definitely a message that I feel like y'all focused in on escaping the school leaders dunk tank. And then with Let Them Speak coming afterward, it's really more about the kids. Like, okay, let's hear what the kids want. What is it that they need? How are we serving them? How do they feel about this? What are their thoughts about it? And so I love that it's the two perspectives, really, the leadership and then the students. And then how do we make that happen as the educators in the middle too? So two amazing books. So if you are chosen as the winner, you will get to choose one of those books. We spoke a lot about Let Them Speak. I really love hearing from the kids in that book. And then, like I said, if you are in a leadership position and maybe you're facing some adversity, you need a little bit of encouragement, I feel like Escaping the School Leaders Dunk Tank is a great book for you. It's definitely lets you hear other perspectives and kind of get a feel for, maybe it's not exactly what you're going through, but then maybe it can give you some encouragement for how to keep pushing through and keep doing the right thing. Rebecca, this has been so amazing. Thanks for joining.
I love it.
I wish Rick could have joined us tonight, but it's
I know. I feel like we need to do coffee now.
I know. A lot of people say that. They're like, I feel like I just, like, as soon as we close out the show, they're like, Tara, that was so fun to hang out. Like, let's just hang out. I know. We just get to hang out with all our other friends out there. I love it. Yeah, we all don't get to see each other enough, I know, as an author family and really as PLN. I want to see I call y'all my PLF because you're my professional learning family. I just want to hang out.
I love it.
All of you, all of our TLAP peeps, our DBC peeps, we're so grateful for you. And happy Kindness Week, Susan said. Thank you. And then I saw too up here, I thought this was a really good comment. Amy said, I'm so thankful I tuned into this PD this evening. I'm creating Google Slides presentation to share with my students around the topic of happiness. So thank you so much. Awesome. So thank you, Rebecca. We already have people implementing instant implementation. Isn't that like a dream?
You know what? The implementation guide really is tremendous because it moves into perception, and now we can talk about perception, then it moves into conflict. But you got to build those stepping stones first. And
totally. Yeah, I love that.
I'm so proud of you guys.
Yeah, it was so fun. That was so fun. Thank you, Rebecca. You're just amazing. And thanks for all of you that joined in. When Noah promised we try to keep these at 30 minutes. I know you got a lot of things to do in the evenings. So we appreciate you. Next Thursday, we'll be back, same place, same time. But before we leave, Rebecca, will you tell everybody where they can find you on social medias if they want to connect with you? Your social media is down a little bit right now. Don't worry about that.
Mine's down a little bit right now. So for 100% surefire, I just do LinkedIn right now.
What about website?
RebeccaCoda.com, or you can go to letthemspeak.net.
Yes.
For the Let Them Speak.
Yeah.
So you definitely can find me on my RebeccaCoda.com. I have all the books there.
Perfect. RebeccaCoda.com. I'll let Dave put that over in the links. And we'll be sure and link both the books up above this video or below if you're on YouTube. We're streaming for both places. So be sure and check those out. If you click those links, you can actually scroll down and preview the book for free. So you just preview the first few chapters to see if you even want to purchase it, and then just scroll back up and purchase it. You know you're going to want to. So do check those out. And how do you find the guide, Amy? You're going to find it on letthemspeak.net. I posted that link just a little bit ahead when we were chatting earlier. So you might want to scroll up into the
there you go.
and it's letthemspeak.net. So you'll find that, you'll find all the different stuff about Let Them Speak, but also the implementation guide, which is free. Go check it out. You can probably grab some more of these questions you can integrate right into your curriculum. So thanks everyone for joining. We appreciate it. Bye everyone.